Thank you, Abdulazim, for the visual response to our question this evening. It's my pleasure to introduce our next respondent to you. I don't think he's a stranger to those who are in this room, neither to the world outside this room. Aki Nawaz is a punk rock musician. I recently, I've known Aki's work for years, but I'd actually never seen Aki perform. And he had warned me when he gave me a copy of his latest album, which I'll speak about in a moment, that there was an accompanying CD, and he said you might want to brace yourself before you watch us perform. And needless to say, it's a remarkably thrilling experience. The Aki that we interviewed for this latest issue of the magazine, we spent several hours with him, and in the course of those hours, he said approximately 35,000 words, which we've edited into a much shorter piece in the magazine. But Aki is no stranger to controversy, and thank God that we have people like him in Britain, alternative voices and things that challenge us. His latest album is called All Is War, The Benefits of Jihad. And it's a remarkable piece of work, and it's a challenging piece of work. And Aki's politics are well known. And we're really happy that Aki is with us this evening, because we've tried with each one of the respondents to offer a different perspective to get discussion going and get those synapses in our brains that Dr. Omar was talking about. So I'll ask Aki Nawaz to respond to Dr. Omar's talk.
Assalamu alaikum. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I think I'm still a punk rocker, but I prefer to be a Muslim. It's more rebellious. It's more dissenting. It's more interesting. As you know, I've got no notes, and I'd like to respond to a lot of things that Dr. Omar talked about. Very complex issues. And in a world of sound bites, where we don't have time to talk, I actually enjoyed when Q News came, and that's why I talked so much. Because I wanted to give context to who I am. That I haven't arrived, since 9/11. I was on the streets fighting skinheads in 1976. We were out on marches in 77 and 78, and we were fighting for the rights of people of colour. So I wanted to bring, and that's why I said probably 35,000 words, because, and that's why I'm so angry and frustrated and hurt at the place where we've arrived politically, essentially. And when we talk about culture, I would have liked, and with all due respect to Dr. Omar, I would have liked to know more about what history is in good hands. It's a nice quote, I will use it. But where does the future lie? I wanted to know how culturally we integrate with what's going on. And as somebody, I feel I'm probably a symbol of integration, and also a symbol of kind of rebelliousness against that integration. And I've tried integrating into this society for time. And I've spent more time amongst non-Muslims having great debates, great discussions. The left, the Marxists, the socialists, the anarchists, the skateboarders, the devil worshippers, the tree worshippers, the chair umbrella worshippers. You name them, I've discussed things with them. I've been very fortunate within my work because it's non-commercial, and I've never wanted to be anything to do with the commercial part of art whatsoever. I've been fortunate to travel around maybe 60 countries and engage with Muslims, especially since Fundamental began. We would have Muslims, in Australia, New Zealand, arriving at concerts, and so happy that here was a group of people who made no apologies for being Muslims. We talked, we weren't proud, we were confident. I don't like the word proud, I never have. But we were confident Muslims. We were happy Muslims. And I've probably got a bit in common with Peter Sanders as well, because he showed the hippie movement, and I came from the punk movement, which was in response to the hippie movement as well, because we disrespected that movement. We said, it was no fun. But what I want to talk about, and I want to give a bit of respect to Dr. Umar is what does it mean to integrate? I don't know. What does it mean to have a British identity? When people talk about being British Muslims or Western Muslims, I find that very, very kind of narrow-minded, because it kind of implies some kind of ism, some kind of racism that will say that we are better than them across there, outside the West. And I reject that. I reject, as somebody, for a lot of people who probably think, oh, he's just got long hair and he probably doesn't, I read the Quran, I read Islamic history, we've read the journeys of Ibn Battuta, and Islam has been an amazing religion historically. And the most beautiful aspect about Islam is it's actually an inclusive, it's not an exclusive religion, it's an inclusive. And when you go to Bosnia and you go to Kazakhstan and you go to South Africa, you see all the Muslims, and you realize that what we do have in common is that we do love Islam, and what we do have common is the 5 pillars of Islam, and we have that brotherly love. But in these times where we are in the West, I think we've got a great opportunity to make some absolutely amazing changes to this world, where we can address some of the horrendous history that's just finished or not finished in terms of colonialism and imperialism, and we can make them changes. And we are fortunate to be here to make them changes, but we cannot do it by being dishonest, and we cannot do it by being having some other agenda other than honesty. There's a lot of things wrong. And it kind of, people say to me, oh, we want you to integrate, and I constantly say to them, well, how do you want me to integrate? And they've got no answer. They say this, and I say, well, that's not integration. They say this, I said, it's not integration. And I think that we have got something to offer through Islam, culturally, consciously. This is one word which we're not talking about, conscientiously. Conscious. Islam has given me a conscience. When I read, when I first went to America, when I went into the streets of New York, was the first time I identified back with my kind of Islamic identity very strongly, when I heard and read books about Malcolm X, and for whatever anybody thinks, but when I heard the Nation of Islam on the streets, it kind of got me more interested and back as an identity. And so I think that Islam, culturally, musically, artistically, has so much, and I've seen it, I've engaged with it, and we don't have much time here where we can talk about things, but what I was missing from Dr. Umar's talk, and with all respect, because obviously a lot of people respect you, and I don't, and forgive me for my ignorance of your work, but I wanted to know the way forward. I want to know where we go in this backdrop and landscape of murder and slaughter of Muslims wholesale. I almost equate it to slavery, and we're being killed as just, human beings without any value, and how we have to still compromise our thoughts, compromise how we engage with those that are having a great time, and there's no accountability. So, I don't know if Dr. Umar did say, I don't know. Well, one thing that I do know is that we have to be honest as Muslims, because we're doing a service to non-Muslims as well. And wherever I go for debates and discussions, I'm constantly frustrated because people are talking about compromises. oh, we have to compromise on this. And it's like, them compromises are not necessary. Because the system is telling you to compromise something which is, you just cannot compromise. And that is the truth. And Islam has told us to be honest and truthful and rebellious in the face of such injustice that's going on. In terms of art, I've seen so much Islamic art which just makes me go crazy, and I just go, I wish I could show this to a system which doesn't even give us credit. But then I go, well, this system is ignorant and it's arrogant, and why should I ask it for acknowledgement when I don't need to ask it? I know it. I don't need them to dictate the conditions and the parameters and the acceptability. We've got everything. So I don't know if I'm going on too much, but I'm just a bit lost how to take Dr. Ulmer's talk. It was a nice talk. I got no issue with, some people before I came here said, oh, this, and I thought, well, and I just said to him, listen, I can only respond to what Dr. Ulmer says. If he says something what I don't like, I'll respond to it. I have that right, just as he has the right to reply back to me, but I couldn't find anything. And it was nice, and probably that's why Peter, coming from the hippie times, can get with that niceness. But it's but I'm also with the reality and the pain of what's going on outside, and I am very emotional about it. I don't I don't hide it. And people say, well, you shouldn't be. And I say, well, you're trying to make me unemotional about, what's happening out there in the world, and that's, unacceptable. So I really think that we have to be strong. Culturally, we've got a lot to learn. We've got a lot to offer. I think that this society here or in America, and I've spent a lot of time in America, could do with a bit of Islam. Culturally, it really needs it. It needs the conscience of Islam. Malcolm X said it when he came back from Hajj. He didn't have that angst against white people, but he did actually say that, white folks need Islam. So he made a point. He was saying something. I don't know, I can't pick a fight with Dr. Ulmer, so I'm really upset. And I'm sure he's really upset I haven't picked a fight with him. But thank you, and keep strong and keep honest. That's the best way forward, and don't compromise with the truth. Assalamu alaikum.